All right, so today we're going to be looking at Transformers and Rectifiers India Ltd,
Okay.
Terrell for short.
Right.
And we're going to be taking a deep dive into their Q3 FY25 earnings call and investor presentation.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to discover some insights that even seasoned investors might miss.
Cool.
So I've got the earnings call recording here
Okay.
and the investor presentation. And let me tell you,
Yeah.
this is not your typical boring financial report.
Interesting.
There's some really interesting stuff going on here.
Yeah, it seems like a really dynamic company, and their performance this quarter is really impressive.
Definitely.
What I'm kind of interested in is their approach.
Yeah.
They're really playing the long game. They're not just thinking about next quarter. They're thinking years ahead.
Okay, so let's jump into it.
Sounds good.
So the numbers are really impressive.
Yeah.
We've got revenue up 49% year over year.
Wow.
EBITDA has increased by like a whopping 136%.
That's huge.
And PAT is through the roof.
Yeah.
A 276% increase.
Okay.
So
what's driving all this?
yeah, what is driving this?
The market for Transformers is hot right now.
Yeah, it is.
But it seems like Terrell is not just chasing every order.
Yeah.
They seem to be prioritizing profitability and favorable payment terms.
So quality over quantity.
Exactly.
And it looks like they're building a sustainable business.
Yeah.
Not just chasing those short-term gains.
Yeah. And their leadership's comments seem to support that.
Okay.
They're really focused on orders that have higher margins.
Right.
And also quick payment cycles.
Yeah. So they want to get paid quickly.
Exactly.
Interesting.
It seems like a pretty disciplined approach. And, you know, as a long-term investor, that's encouraging.
That's
right. You know, this leads us to one of their most strategic moves, which is acquiring a controlling stake in a
CRGO processing unit.
Now, I know CRGO might sound like something out of Star Wars or something.
It does sound kind of futuristic.
But it's actually really important for Transformers.
It stands for cold-rolled grain-oriented steel.
Okay.
And it's important because it makes up a significant portion of a Transformer's cost.
Okay.
So by bringing this in-house, they're gaining control over their supply chain, which could reduce costs and mitigate risks associated with sourcing this material.
So it's not just buying a processing unit.
Right.
It's like securing their future.
Exactly.
I love it.
And this is especially important because there's some scarcity in the market.
Really?
Yeah. CRGO is facing a bit of a shortage.
Oh, wow.
And Terrell's chairman actually predicted a minimum 4% profit boost.
Wow.
Once all their backward integration projects are fully operational. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So they're not just reacting to the market.
Right.
They're anticipating it.
Exactly.
And getting ahead of the game.
That's smart.
Yeah.
And it's not just about CRGO. They're also investing in expanding their production capacity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're adding a 16,000 MVA capacity upgrade.
16,000?
16,000.
That sounds massive.
It is massive.
So what does that mean for their future?
Well, it means they're preparing for a surge in demand.
Okay.
And get this, they've already started booking orders.
Seriously?
Yeah, for this expanded capacity.
Wow.
Even though it won't be fully operational until early next year.
So they're confident that the demand's going to be there.
Exactly.
Wow.
And this actually aligns with their goal of reaching $1 billion in annual revenue within the next few years.
So we've got strong performance, strategic order selection, a CRGO play, and a massive capacity expansion. What else should we be looking at?
Well, there's one more development.
Okay.
They are currently the only qualified supplier of green hydrogen transformers in India.
Green hydrogen transformers?
Yeah.
That sounds pretty futuristic.
It does. Yeah.
What are those?
So green hydrogen is a clean energy source.
Right.
And it's produced using renewable energy.
Okay.
So it's a potential game changer in the fight against climate change.
Okay, interesting.
And these specialized transformers are essential for integrating green hydrogen into the energy infrastructure.
So this puts Terrell at the forefront of a potentially massive market.
It has the potential to be huge, but it is important to remember that green hydrogen is still in its early stages.
Right.
So it's a bit of a wait-and-see situation with huge potential implications for Terrell if it takes off. So something to watch.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've seen Terrell taking a very strategic approach to growth,
right,
focusing on profitability, securing their supply chain, and really looking towards the future of energy. Let's take a closer look.
Sounds good.
At their financials.
Okay.
And see if we can uncover how their strategic decisions are reflected in their numbers.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, looking at their financials, it's clear they're committed to financial discipline.
Right.
Like they're walking the walk.
Yeah.
They said they're committed to streamlining their balance sheet and becoming debt-free.
Wow. That's a bold goal.
It is.
Especially in today's world.
Yeah, but they seem serious.
Yeah, their CFO actually highlighted their CPIR model.
CPIR.
Cash, payables, receivables, and inventory management.
Right.
So they're really focusing on managing those 4 things.
So it's all about financial health. Yeah, and it sounds like they think that by managing those things really well, they can fuel future growth.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It gives them the flexibility to take advantage of opportunities and deal with economic challenges.
Yeah, so speaking of growth, their CFO set a revenue target of 3,500 crore rupees for next year.
Right.
That's a big jump from their current target of 2,000 crore.
It is. Do they have the capacity
realistic
to achieve that?
Yeah.
Well, they said it'll be a combination of their existing facilities and the new 16,000 MVA capacity expansion.
Makes sense.
But here's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
That 3,500 crore figure doesn't include the full potential of the new facility.
So they're being conservative.
They are.
Which is good to see.
Yeah, they're focusing on fulfilling existing orders before fully factoring in the new capacity.
Yeah, so they're being realistic. What about their larger $1 billion goal?
Right, that ambitious goal.
Is that still on the table?
They confirmed that the $1 billion target is annual revenue, not cumulative over several years.
So it's a big goal.
It is a big goal. It'll be interesting to see how they progress and if they can hit that milestone.
Okay, so one analyst brought up their export strategy.
Right, given the global uncertainties.
Yeah. Are they concerned about risks?
Yeah.
Like foreign duties?
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And they addressed it head on.
Okay.
They actually intentionally limit their export orders to around 20%.
So they're focusing on India?
Yeah, primarily the Indian market.
That makes sense.
They're capitalizing on India's growth while minimizing risk.
Smart move.
Yeah.
And you can really see their focus on India when you look at their order book.
Yeah. How's that broken down?
43% is from central utilities. 10% from state utilities. And 47% from industrial customers.
Wow.
So they're really embedded in the Indian power sector.
They are, and it's a diversified customer base.
Yeah, it seems like a healthy mix.
It does.
It shows they have strong relationships with both public and private companies.
Right.
But an analyst pointed out something interesting.
Okay.
Their order book of 4,000 crore rupees, which they're aiming for by the end of this year, is actually larger than their revenue guidance of 3,500 crore for next year.
Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah, especially since their order book typically covers 18 to 24 months.
Right.
So how can the order book be larger than the revenue guidance?
Well, they explained that the 4,000 crore order book mainly consists of larger orders for high-voltage transformers, which have longer execution timelines.
So the revenue is spread out.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it doesn't all show up in the next year's revenue.
Yeah.
And they also mentioned that their smaller distribution transformers aren't really factored into that 4,000 crore target.
Gotcha. So it's about the timing and scale of different projects.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this actually brings us back to the CRGO scarcity issue.
Right.
Several analysts were curious about how they're handling it.
Yeah, because it's a crucial material.
It is.
For transformer manufacturing. So what did they say?
They were pretty transparent. They acknowledged the shortages in India.
Right.
And that India relies entirely on imports for CRGO.
Okay.
But that's where their acquisition of the CRGO processing unit becomes really strategic.
Yeah, it gives them more control.
Exactly.
During a time of scarcity.
Right.
So it was a smart move to secure a reliable source of processed CRGO.
Definitely.
But one analyst wondered why they weren't taking on more orders to capitalize on this high demand. They said they could potentially book like 1,000 crore rupees worth of orders every month.
That's a lot.
It is. So why not take on more?
It does seem counterintuitive.
It does.
If the demand is there, why not maximize revenue?
Yeah.
Well, they emphasized their focus on quality and timely delivery.
Right.
They said taking on too many orders could compromise that.
So they want to protect their reputation.
They do.
And build trust with customers.
Exactly. It's a long-term view.
Yeah.
They're also prioritizing orders with favorable payment terms.
So no cash flow issues.
Exactly.
Smart.
Yeah.
They're not just chasing revenue, they're being strategic.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about green hydrogen.
Yeah.
They're the only qualified supplier of these specialized transformers in India.
It's a market with huge potential.
It is.
But it's still early days.
Yeah.
One analyst was really interested in the market potential and how it might contribute to their market share.
So what did they say?
They acknowledged the excitement around green hydrogen, but they emphasized that it's still a nascent market.
Okay.
Many projects are still in the prototype phase.
So it'll take time for large-scale adoption.
Exactly.
Right.
But they are optimistic about the long-term potential.
Good.
They're developing their expertise and building relationships in the green hydrogen ecosystem.
So they're positioning themselves for future growth.
Exactly. Yeah, they're planting a seed and nurturing it.
And waiting for it to bear fruit.
Exactly.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about their new fully automated radiator facility.
Right, that was interesting.
Yeah, an analyst wanted to know more about it.
Okay.
Like its purpose, target market, and regulatory approvals.
Makes sense.
So what do they have to say?
Well, they said radiators aren't actually a high-value product. Okay. They only represent like 8 or 9% of Transformers' total cost.
Okay.
But they're still a crucial component.
So it's about controlling the supply chain.
Exactly.
Okay.
Initially, they'll focus on their own needs, but they did mention export potential.
Oh, okay.
Especially because other manufacturers in India have long lead times.
So they could fill that gap.
Potentially, yeah.
But they're being cautious.
They are.
On cuff ports.
Yeah, they want to make sure the quality meets international standards.
Makes sense.
What about the regulatory approvals?
Yeah, how's that going?
They've started the process with PGCIL for their 765 kV radiators. Okay. But it's still early.
So it'll take time.
It will.
Okay, now let's talk about their achievement in short-circuit testing.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
It is.
Short-circuit testing is really important.
Yeah, to make sure transformers can withstand power surges.
Exactly.
And they just hit a major milestone.
They did.
They conducted a test on a 500 MVA transformer.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, they said it's the highest MVA ever tested in a single month.
That's huge.
Yeah, it really shows their technical capabilities and their commitment to quality.
Absolutely.
They also mentioned that December 2024 saw the highest number of units tested in a single month.
So they're being efficient.
Yeah, very efficient.
Their production processes are top-notch.
Yeah.
All of this really points to a company gearing up for growth.
Right.
They're focused on quality, efficiency, and financial prudence.
Yeah.
Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture.
Okay.
What does Terrell's story tell us about the energy landscape in India and beyond?
I think Carol's story really reflects the trends we're seeing in the energy sector in India and globally.
In rapidly developing economies like India, where infrastructure is a top priority.
And it's not just about meeting the demand.
Right.
It's about doing it sustainably and efficiently.
Exactly.
And they're focused on backward integration, disciplined order selection, and green hydrogen technology.
It all points to a company thinking long-term about a future powered by clean energy.
Exactly.
So they're not just building transformers, they're building a foundation for a more sustainable future.
And they're doing it with a focus on financial stability.
They are,
Debt reduction, working capital management, and good payment terms.
That's a smart approach.
Yeah.
Especially with all the economic uncertainty they're showing, that you can have growth and a strong financial foundation.
So what does all this mean for our listener?
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
Terrell's story is a microcosm of the global energy transition as we move towards cleaner energy.
Right.
Companies like Terrell are going to make that transition possible.
So they're the enablers.
Exactly.
And they're not just relying on technical expertise.
Right.
They're thinking strategically.
They are.
They have financial discipline.
Yeah.
And they understand the energy landscape.
It's a company on the move.
So keep an eye on Terrell.
Yeah.
They're one to watch.
Definitely.
And for our listener, the world of energy is constantly evolving.
Yeah, it is.
Full of innovation.
Yeah.
And challenges.
Keep exploring. Keep learning.
Because the future of energy is being written right now.
That's right.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
To help you navigate this fascinating world.
We will.
So until next time.
Yeah.
Stay curious.
Stay curious.